Making an attempt. And it worked. And you're live.
We're live. Excellent. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Healing by the Numbers. And it's just exciting times, isn't it? You know, there's so much information and things going on out there. And I'm hoping to just shed a light from a naturopathic perspective on this weird viral concern. But first, hey, Dr. Misak here, a naturopathic doctor, pharmacist, and we do things a little bit differently. We try to teach that analytical perspective for those of you who don't know who we are. And those of you who do, hello again. I hope you guys are out there. I'll be looking at the chat soon enough.
Yep.
I always like to bring a verse of the day.
You might want to hold on a little bit. We need to wait for some folks to jump on.
Okay.
You know.
We could do that. Well, I always like to start with a verse, and Philippians 1:6 says, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. So I have to believe with what I'm doing that God's got a plan for me and all this crap. You know, this world is so screwed up, people. And why am I seemingly the only practitioner who is bringing together live blood and electrodermal and RBTI, Ream's theory of ionization, and pulling that information together and looking at it, how it makes so much sense. I don't know why I'm in this position, and but we started a coalition, a nonprofit to make a group that we can bring people in. Here's an exciting thing: is I think I finished a book outside of the information needed to putting the appendix together, and just making sure that we have the information as a way that you can go back and say, hey, this is how I test. This is how I'm supposed to eat if these are my numbers, and just have all that put together. We have a website for the coalition that's coming together. It can be found, I believe, but you can't log. I don't think we can join through online yet because we just don't have the information uploaded that once you do join, hey, what do I get for this? You get a join, but we don't have anything to show you yet. It's just because of the same, like some of the information we're going to put in the appendix is going to be available to people who join the Health Coalition. It's really exciting out there, people, what's happening on my end. It never stops, just does not stop. And so I have allowed one person to take a look at my book and try to get some feedback on this thing. I'm like, am I just writing out to the world and just like, trying to put something out there?
Yeah, I get it. I'm terrible. Yeah. I'm going to read tomorrow. I have time. I fell Wednesday. Give me a break. Well, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, did you get Annie fell this week, people? So extra prayers for her. She is not feeling too good lately. But yeah, I finished the book and I'm like, I think I'm done. And I gave it to Annie.
And I healed, and there it stopped.
and this was like Monday of this week. Yeah. And so I'm asking by Friday, I'm like, have you looked at the book? I'm like, there's no feedback, nothing coming back.
Are you avoiding a book question? And I said, no. Gosh, I'll get on it. I'm excited to read it. I am.
So you emailed me, and I will probably have to in order to pull that up, I'll have to go through and pull that off of the email. But I think one of the things that, everybody's talking about right now, obviously, COVID-19, coronavirus. Hey, do you got a line with that? The other thing, here's the worst part of the coronavirus, people. Honestly, you're in a store, 100 people around you, and then some old person sneezes and is coughing. And then 100 people poop their pants and there's no toilet paper.
State of America right now.
Come on. Okay, so I could sit here and go into, all of these things of what are we doing with this, and we could track that. Hey, our government had quarantine procedures put into place back in November in case something like this were to happen. Predictable. Well, I don't know about that type of stuff. And then what's really weird is they're not telling you what to do except quarantine and lock ourselves up. And there's been some interesting research that has come out of China, because what they've been dealing with, particularly with high dose vitamin C, and showing that high dose vitamin C, people going in and getting IV therapy and stuff like that. I don't know if you've noticed, vitamin C is disappearing off the shelves. We've had problems reordering supply for people. I have a few bottles left of some forms of vitamin C. I've experimented with some different forms of vitamin C. I even ordered some buffered vitamin C because it was one of the only things available. And I even did my product highlight, a week ago on vitamin C, because vitamin C, according to Dr. Reams and RBTI, he said that there's a direct correlation with energy loss in vitamin C, suggesting that if we can measure it and know where we are with our vitamin C status, that you can get an idea of your energy utilization. That's huge, people. And if your urine pH is above 6.4, you should definitely be taking vitamin C. If your urine pH is below 6.4, you definitely need vitamin C. But your body, there's not enough resistance for you to utilize that vitamin C. So what happens is Ream suggested that stewed onions, that turning around and having onion soup is the best bioavailable source of you getting a vitamin C. So those of you who are like, oh my God, coronavirus is out there, what do I do? I can't find vitamin C. I can't find any toilet paper. What do I do? Make some onion soup, at least have some onion soup and get that in you. And so I've been asked 1,000 people, it may not really 1,000, but I'm consistently getting questions.
Can you talk, speaking of questions, can you talk a little bit about vitamin C? Someone's asking, ascorbic acid is not a natural form of vitamin C and not naturally coming forth. They're asking if that's true.
Well, true. It's an extract. And the problem with the vitamin C and ascorbic acid is a lot of it is being derived from corn. And so many of you may have learned years ago about the China study and how this high dose vitamin C and how they were curing cancer. And there was this protocol for using the IV vitamin C as part of that protocol. And all of a sudden it just stopped working. And doctors were like, okay, why is this not working? They traced it back to the source of the IV vitamin C was being derived from corn. And the corn that it was being derived from in the pharmaceutical industry was GMO. Wow. So you got to be concerned. That's an obvious concern is, I try to find non-corn sources of vitamin C, because the primary genetically modified foods are corn and soybean, and vitamin C is highly, derived from that source. I use various ones. I use Whole Foods by Innate Response I talked about, because they have a food state nutrients. I've got Garden of Life Whole Food vitamin C before, a little bit lower potency. I've got Health Force Naturals vitamin C potency. Acerola as a vitamin C source that people have used historically. You'll hear about rose hips and these type of things. Vitamin C is great, people. Just in general, you need vitamin C. Your body needs it to hold all your cells together. Reams talked about that explicitly and its relation to our energy utilization. And so I am going to turn around and say, yeah, you definitely want to be on on some vitamin C. But when we're asking, there's some other things that I would turn around and say, what can we address here? Let me go and see if I can pull up our show today. I can't, Annie. I need to.
I got you. I'll bring you.
If you want to get me that, or do it on my phone, that's fine too. You should be getting some source of vitamin C, particularly whether you're doing, like I said, the homemade onion soup. Get some organic beef broth, people, or beef bone broth, and Some people who are like, oh, I can't do the meat and the beef and whatever else. I've made it with Bragg's aminos, and a little bit of soy sauce. Again, that's soy, but we're trying to get non-genetically modified. So using water and then using Bragg's aminos as my base, and then throwing some basil and garlic. I mean, garlic is good to have in there because of the allicin, and allicin is actually antimicrobial. So people are asking me, what do I do? And if you look at any pandemic, any plague, anything that's ever happened, why didn't everybody get it? I love the story behind the essential oils called thieves. And you go back, and it was during the plague, and they had these people who would, after the deaths, they go and they were grave robbers. I think I can say that. They were going up and digging up these graves of these sick bodies, but they weren't getting sick. And people couldn't understand why these gypsies and these people were not getting sick. And it turned out that they were taking these high doses of these extracts of these various herbs, and the herbs were antimicrobial. And that's the whole story behind Young Living and that product, Thieves. Thieves makes the essential oil. I love this stuff. Oh, look at that. You got it right there.
I do. I love it. I take it
So Thieves makes a sanitizing hand wash. That's a little less toxic than using triclosan and alcohol on your skin consistently. Thieves makes a body soap. Thieves makes a cleansing soap for your house. I use Miracle 2 soap, probably an ounce in a 32-ounce bottle. I put a few drops of Thieves, fill it up with water, and that's what I wash all my veggies with. Kill microbes and wash off pesticide removing sprays with or pesticides with some type of soap activity. So why am I saying this? Is because you're only going to get a virus if you're susceptible to that virus. So why is nobody talking about prevention and immune support? If you go in the alternatives, and if you're on Facebook, you're going to find that you might get a link shared from somebody, and the next thing you know, that link is dead because we don't want to promote false information, right? Mm-hmm. They're going out there and they're keeping information from being disseminated. And I'll sit there and say it because I know that that there's certain things that just don't want to be said. I love my product Vitalometry. Don't even have a bottle in here, but I take that every day. Why? Astragalus, Sambucus, green tea extract. They're all in there. Those are immune boosters. Things to enhance your immune system. My newest thing is moldies. I created a product specific for mold because there are so many people that have chronic mold issues. And these are people from anything from brain tumors to just chronic debilitating disease. I love Neil Nathan's book, Toxic, and how he incorporates Lyme disease, chronic infections, and mold as one of these infectious things that is just eating people apart, and gives you some ideas about that. I have found that when RBTI tells me that something's going on, but something's not changing in the numbers. I talked about organic acid testing and mycotox testing that we showed a few weeks ago. And like my organic acid test was beautiful. It's because of RBTI. My mold test, boom, it's skyrocket high. I'm loaded with the crap because of what I've dealt with in my own household. And I'm taking steps to deal with that. But in the meantime, I've got to get it out of my body. So what do? I create a product. And who's taking that product? Me, only right now, until I see.
You need to share.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm taking it for 6 to 8 weeks, and then I'm going to retest my mold levels, and I want to see I want to make sure that it brings them down.
Awesome.
And so if you have these things, you have to bind them up, and you have to help eliminate these burdens. But immune support. So before I go, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Let's see what you guys are saying. We got 23 people out there. Good morning, Connie, and Marty, and Beth Ann. So excited about the book. I am too, actually. My God, it's been a long time in the working. Leah, good morning. Good morning. The panic would be funny if it wasn't so sad. It is a sad state of affairs, what's going on in our world, people. And We can't live by fear. That's the one thing that God tells us in all honesty. And the other aspect with that is, you create fear and panic, and then you, as an American citizen, give people in government or whoever more power than they were ever intended to go, let's push this through. The hell with the laws. Give the government the ability to make this change now. Well, that change and that power has led to things that have stripped our rights away and that have never been reverted after they were given that power. It's not like, hey, let's do this and then go back to the old ways. It's like, let's do this. Oh, now we got this power. Let's keep this in case we need it another day. So people, just be aware that, with this type of panic, if we create some type of emergency state like that's just been declared, that we don't turn around and say, yeah, get this done, because of the fear and panic that's being created. Less people are dying from the coronavirus than the flu last year, but less people have been infected so far, and most people are, it's like a really bad, nasty cold, but you get the respiratory symptoms. Vitamin C is in China. They've got multiple studies going on giving IV vitamin C, showing how it's improving people, and so improving recovery and whatever else.
I think I saw online they had a 70% recovery rate with vitamin C.
70%. That's huge, people. But it's not being reported here. So let me see. Linda, I heard online that ascorbic acid is not natural. True. We just went over that. Leah, years ago, I heard an old wives' tale that hanging an onion up will protect you from the flu and cold viruses and vampires. For years, I hung one up in a mesh bag, but didn't get those flu. Yeah. So onion and garlic are great. So how many of you get so frustrated that you only want to eat half of your avocado and you want to keep the other half in some type of container in the refrigerator and go back later and it looks brown and you're like, I don't know about that now. You don't want to eat it. Put a sliver of fresh cut onion in there and watch what happens. It won't change. Why?
What?
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So just slice a piece of onion, and put it in there with your avocado.
Wonderful.
And the vitamin C and the allicin and whatever that's in there keeps it from oxidizing. It's because of the antioxidant potential of what's in the onion. So onions they're antimicrobial. Same with garlic. It's in the same family. And the allicin, you can buy garlic-based products that have high amounts of allicin. I'll tell you, with taking moldies, I've got garlic, and there's a trace amount of chili pepper in there, horseradish is in there, there's garlic in there, there's not oil of oregano, there's oregano and thyme and in there. And so I noticed, the most thing I noticed is that if I burp after that stuff, it's garlic, burp, and so, but I know that's playing a role in my immune aspect of what's going on. I make my own thieves oil. Good. Does infrared sauna have a laxative effect? No. It stimulates circulation. It'll stimulate detoxification. And if your body is trying to process the toxins that you mobilize from an infrared sauna, the liver is going to dump them in the bile to the digestive tract. And if the digestive tract says, holy crud, I can't deal with this irritation, what's it going to do? Let's flush. So if you're really toxic, I could see a casual relationship, but infrared sauna does not have a relaxing or laxative effect. Good morning, Diana. Love hearing about how to save our avocados with onion. You are welcome.
I'm not the only one.
So bottom line, we got to talk about immune support, people. So there are so many things out there. When you're talking about susceptibility, I talk about RBTI, I talk about why we do things, is to change your chemistry, to change your internal environment. I don't want inside susceptible to what's outside, because what's outside is toxic. We're in a crappy toxic world, people, and I know I'm already dealing inside with mold, so neti pot, getting that stuff out of me. As neti pots are amazing, by the way. For those of you, I do distilled water with a little bit of salt, a little bit of colloidal silver, And I've started putting 1 drop of grapefruit seed extract in there to kill some mold, because it's been shown that 90 to 95% of people exposed or had mold exposure, it's growing up in here, which access to nerves that go to the brain. And maybe that's why I'm so crazy, people. Because
so much.
My brain is being slowly eaten and disrupted on neurotransmitter levels by mold.
That's awful. Don't say it like that.
Mold drives me crazy, people. Mold is just plain scary. I'm gonna do shows on mold. I'm gonna wait until I repeat my test and keep working on my formulation. I just want to make sure it's working, But anyway, when I look at all of this, immune support, where does it start? Where does RBTI teaches it start? RBTI being Ream's biological theory of ionization. It starts with what we eat. If you're eating a crappy standard American diet, it's a sad diet, and you're eating all this processed crap and genetically modified crap, the scariest part about it coming to America is that we live on crap and we are susceptible. Think about it.
Very.
Less than 1% of our farmland is organic, yet 5% of our produce in the stores is organic. So we're bringing it in, but we don't change our farming practices. And that just means the total amount of load going on the body, not that organic food is loaded with the minerals and vitamins that we need, because there's still, soil depletion is such a huge issue. So quality of what you're putting in you, and I'm telling you, if you're living in America, you're not getting it. So if you're not taking some sort of supplementation, you're not doing yourself a favor. And it starts with minerals, because that's what your body needs to generate energy. You have to generate more energy than your body consumes. So when you get exposed to something that consumes energy, if you're not generating enough energy, next thing you know, I'm consuming more energy than I'm making. What happens? I don't know, based upon your genetic susceptibility and your exposure history, it says where your weaknesses are, and how many of us is in the respiratory tract. Ever since my mold exposures, I know that's me, right? So think about it. Some of you, it's the digestive tract. Why? Because that's the primary internal link, here, to the external world. So where's most of your immune activity coming from? Digestive tract, right at Peyer's patches at the end of your small intestines, where your appendix happens to be located, which is your largest immune-based organ, because it's in association with the blanking on terms, so I'm just going to skip it, but you have Peyer's patches right at the beginning of that large intestine, and massive amount of immune response going on there. Because some people estimate that 70 to 80% of your immune activity happens in your gut. Because what are you consuming? There's bugs on everything, people. If you're a germaphobe, I'm sorry. They're everywhere. If you really want to know the truth, it's been shown that for every cell of your body, you have 10 microorganisms in your body, meaning that they 10 to 1 outweigh your body. You are a pile of bug. Isn't that good thoughts? Look at Andy's face right now. You got to make.
I know this.
But we turn around and we recognize the microbiome. Wow, we do have good bugs in us, and they only live in the digestive tract and in women in their vaginal area. Really? Bugs are everywhere. Hulda Clark showed it. Royal Rife showed it. You know what's funny? If you go back, I saw a statement yesterday that Royal Rife, the guy who was curing cancer and all that other stuff, says, hey, if your body pH is healthy, then you won't get sick. Even back, Royal Rife lined up with Carrie Reams, that if your pH of your body is right. So we could talk about pH and how that's influenced by diet. Reams was teaching that based upon your urine pH, these were foods more appropriate for you to eat because they'll move the pH towards where you want it. Doesn't that make sense? Eat the right foods. So we can turn around and go into all of these things that we can take, which in many cases and in today's world, not a bad idea. But it starts with quality of food. And then, so when we teach food, we teach to look at the pH, look at the bricks, teaching what to eat, what to drink. We teach you what minerals to take, because minerals dictate your body's ability to utilize that energy, increase energy utilization. So you're generating more energy than what your body's consuming. And what's going to happen? Your immune system's going to work better. Everything's going to work better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to, metabolically, you're enhancing the efficiency of what your body can deal with the stress that's on it. If you're who are they saying are most likely to die? And now, even in Italy, did you guys hear the horrible story? Italy went from 300 cases to 2,000 cases to 10,000 cases over a 1 month period, to the point where they have to start triaging people who are coming in. And triaging meaning they're deciding who's going to get treatment and who's not. And if you're on the older edge of the spectrum, they don't look at your life expectancy as important as somebody who's younger. So guess what? You old people get to die first. Same thing Obamacare was doing. So what do you do? So, and who are the ones that they're making out to be most susceptible? The elderly and the immune compromised. Think about it. So what are you doing for your immune system? First, eat well. Stop the crap. Bottom line, eat good food. Then you'll have better poop, so you don't have to wipe up and use as much toilet paper.
Oh, man.
I got to stop on that one. I'm laughing inside. All right, I'm ranting and raving. What are you guys saying here? Let's see. I know a vegan who keeps getting kidney stones. What should she stop doing? Stop eating oxalate. She's probably eating too much spinach and carrots, and it's oxalates. She has high oxalates in her diet. She's probably getting the amount of mycotoxins in our food, particularly with your grains, peanuts, coffee. She's probably loaded. She probably has mold and not processing her oxalates very well. Tell her to look up a low oxalate diet and stop eating those. And she's going to be like, oh my God, I can't eat what I'm eating, because that's everything I'm eating. That's why she's forming kidney stones. She has to improve her oxalate information. She should probably be taking a little bit of B6 and B1 in active forms. There you go. To help her to get rid of it. Vitamin C actually helps you to dump oxalates too. And as she transfers over to a lower oxalate diet, she's going to detox. Just fair warner. So people start with diet. Eat breakfast for a queen, lunch for a king, dinner for a pauper. Even, hey, think about it. Fasting, intermittent fasting. Fasting's been shown to enhance your immune system. Mm-hmm. Fasting's been shown to enhance metabolic activity, to clean out your body. There's a lot of benefits there, because you're enabling and helping your body to handle the load. And how many poppers had dinner anyway? So, what else do we want to talk about? So food, it's got to start there. So then immune system, vitamin C, people, I've talked about it. Onion soup, if you have low pHs, taking some source of vitamin C. I even this week, trying to find vitamin C, even through the professional companies. I started buying some buffered vitamin C, and it's what it is. It has calcium, magnesium, potassium, carbonates in there to buffer out the acid. And so if you look up calcium carbonate, which is glorified Tums, it raises your pH. And so what they're doing is they're buffering out the acid by giving carbonate forms. I don't have a problem with people using that, because if you get the pH up above 6.4, the ascorbic acid that's in there will be better utilized. And so, but getting some source of vitamin C is definitely needed. Oh, I should have drank water instead of that. But so immune boosting, I can turn around and put, vitalometry. You see it on your screen around there. It's got astragalus. It's got sambucus. It has green tea extract in there. It's got ginkgo for the brain. It's got milk thistle for the liver, so you can process things more effectively. It has, but the astragalus, people, is just immensely immune boosting. Also, you're supporting your adrenal glands. It's got lemon in there. for a little, again, some source of vitamin C. It's got menthol in there. It's got calcium in there because it regulates the ability of minerals to move across the cells. And you have to have calcium in order to strengthen your bile quality so that you can pull and extract the nutrients. There was a reason that I put the things in there that I put in there. And so for me, like I said, my immune boost is I take 4 to 7 vitalometry a day, and I take right now I'm using that Moldy's product. I take colloidal silver every day. There's a good one. So colloidal silver, you're going to find all kinds of information. Coronavirus has been around for years, people. I have seen a direct study from 1992 showing an LD 100, like 100% eradication of the coronavirus with glyceric acid. Where is it found? Licorice extract. Okay, but you can't go by deglycerized licorice, DGL. Why? Because they've removed the glyceric acids, because glyceric acids can raise blood pressure. So if you go and get a licorice solid extract, which is incredible stuff, do a quarter teaspoon a day. And if you're prone to high blood pressure, check it. Just because the potential exists to raise your blood pressure doesn't mean that it's going to. Check your blood pressure. But glyceric acid was shown 100%, an LD 100, knocked out coronavirus completely. We look in China, the studies are coming with vitamin C. You're hearing all over the internet, boost your immune system. People are talking about elderberry. Historically, in naturopathic medicine, we learn about echinacea. We learn about mushroom extracts. You look at those mushroom extracts from chaga to cordyceps to maitake, which helps with blood sugar regulation as well, to shiitake mushrooms, which actually has been shown to kill MRSA and different types of staph, as well as boosting the immune system. There's beta glucans that are in there. If you want to improve your vitamin C utilization in your body, it's eat apricot seeds, apricotpower.com. Order a bag of them. They're a little bit bitter, but eat about 9 to 12 of them a day. They're a source of pangamic acid and laetril, which is vitamin B17 and vitamin B15. Go look up and read about B15. You're going to hear people say, first Wikipedia saying that this is something that people are proclaiming for cancer and all this other stuff. But Dr. Carrie Ream said there are 2 substances known to improve vitamin C status in the body, your ability to carry the vitamin C and make it more available. And that's vitamin B15 and vitamin B17. And one source of that is apricot seeds. So food. Eat 9 to 12 apricot seeds per day. Throw them in your smoothie. They taste like bitter almonds. Okay? So there's multiple ways for you to enhance your immune system, from products to food. You got to, just don't live in fear, but be proactive. Make sure you're supporting that chemistry in some capacity. At least be checking your pH, your urine pH and your bricks, and get an idea of how efficient that I'm running. And if you're seeing that bricks spiking up to 6, 7, then figure out what you're eating that's causing it. Okay? So colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is a powerful antimicrobial. You go to Steve, what's his, I can't think of his last name, website. It's thesilveredge.com. If you go to thesilveredge.com, if something is on about coronavirus and silver, he will have a study and show it there. But his silver generators, that's what I use. They make 10 parts per million. I drink at least a couple ounces a day. But I'll turn blue. No, you won't, because you're doing a product that you can't visibly see silver. It is so microfine. It's 7 to 9 nanometers. It's as small as red blood cells. It goes in and out of your cells and in and out of your body within 7 hours, 99.97%. They don't tell you that stuff. There was a study, that website has that study listed where they monitored the use of silver in the body and how the body gets rid of it. So colloidal silver is powerfully antimicrobial. Yet it was on the news yesterday, 2 days ago, on the national news. As there's a lot of hype on things that you can do to kill the coronavirus, colloidal silver as such, and there is no research that suggests it. That's because they're preventing the research. They're not going to give merit to a natural product that you can turn around and treat yourself and take millions, if not billions of dollars away from the healthcare system. Call me devil's advocate and call me a conspiracist, but I honestly believe that, people. So colloidal silver is something that I'm doing every day. Squirt it up my nostrils, or neti pot, if I have people who are going on airplanes, I tell them we have colloidal silver gel. Put a swab of colloidal silver gel up in your nostril. I said, if I were right now, I would probably wear a mask, even though they're saying not to, but I would put 1 drop of essential oil on the outside of that mask, so that you're at least getting that exposure to those essential oils that are antimicrobial. Essential oils, people, powerful antimicrobial activity. Powerful. Put them on an essential oil necklace, one of those little necklaces, and smell, have that aromatherapy around you. Put it on your wrist. Wipe it on your clothes. Be proactive. Don't live in fear. If you have friends that want to get together, and you are pretty much, hey, my kids are out of the house, I'm not exposed, maybe quarantine's a good thing for me, and your best friends are saying, hey, you want to get together since we're all quarantined, and they work in a daycare, or they work at a public service place, or they have kids that are in public places that are possibly exposed, maybe you don't want to be with them right now. I'm not against, washing our hands, people. I hate those alcohol-based cleaners. I use a colloidal silver pump soap wash for my hands, and then I like aromatherapy oils, and the Thieves actually has a little hand sanitizer. That carries the essential oils for antimicrobial. Think, people, if you see somebody that is coughing get out of the area, get away from them. It's protective. Let me see what else we have from you guys. Thank you. You're welcome, Connie. Can we buy Mincall from you? Yes, you can. We have it here. Will you ship it out? Whatever it costs to ship, we add $1 to it. I take colloidal silver and got rid of an infection in my jaw that I had for 3 years, and it saved my tooth. Yeah. I've had colloidal silver. I've had 3 people who were in the intensive care unit, and I had their family members call me and say, Doc, my mom, all of them were ladies. My mom is going to die. She's in an intensive care unit. She's on a breathing machine. They have a nasogastric tube. What do I do? And I'm like, what do you expect me to do? I have no authority to walk into that hospital. I can't test them, And I said, here's what I would do, is I would take a jar of colloidal silver in there, tell them that it's pure distilled water, and say, you will comfort me by letting me know that every time you flush that nasogastric tube with an ounce of water, that you are putting pure distilled water in them, and say that would make me comforted. And guess what? All 3 of those people were out of the intensive care unit within 36 hours from colloidal silver being given to them, probably about 12 ounces a day.
Wow.
Colloidal silver is powerful, people.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I put it up my nostrils. I've got mold. I hate it too.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same. I'm so congested in the morning, but silver takes it away immediately. It's amazing
Yeah.
stuff.
So another basic mechanism of how to kill microbes is oxidation. So you're going to read a lot about ozone. We have ozone air purifiers, and I run ozone. Not all the time, but when I'm away, boom, I'm going to run the ozone for a couple hours. Let's blast the place again. Let's kill the microbes that are on the countertop. Let's kill the microbes that are on the doorknobs. But ozone or oxidation in the body, go read the story of Miracle Mineral Supplement, MMS. Go read the stories about it. There are videos out there, and they're telling you where Red Cross, they started curing malaria. They cured over 184 people of malaria, where one day they tested positive, a day and a half later they tested negative by loading people up with 15 drops of Miracle Mineral Supplement, and they were going through a fever and killing malaria. And then the next thing you know, the government stepped in South Africa and stopped them and said that it was all a hoax.
Oh.
And there are people who will make testimonies, and there are videos out there of saying this stuff is real. I had a child come in from a family who was known to have Lyme disease this summer, and they had been giving this child MMS, and the child was responding beautifully. And I'm just like, her numbers are good. Let's do this. And there was no way that I was going to stop the MMS in that child because it was working. It was clearing it. She had no negative effects from it. It was, it's chlorine dioxide. And if you go to the FDA and you read about it, they equate it with you drinking toxic bleach. But a basic mechanism of cell destruction is oxidation, is how you kill it. You're loading up and oxidizing. And so you go back and 1931, a basic mechanism of cancer is it loves an anaerobic environment. And our body switches over to glycolysis, to using sugar as a source of energy for us. And cancer cells thrive because there's lack of oxygen. And that's why people are getting in hyperbaric chambers, drive up the oxygen levels, And so, but that basic mechanism, that's why alternative therapists are injecting people with ozone or wherever. So, but that's why MMS, these type of things are working. Do I have MMS? Yeah, I've got it hidden in the back. Do I give it to my clients? No. And the only reason I haven't is because of the controversy that's right on the FDA, that if I suggest it and somebody goes, looks it up on the FDA, say, oh my God, this guy's recommending bleach to me. Because of all the information that's out there that says, don't do this stuff.
It's ridiculous.
But I would tell you to go back and look at the basic mechanisms and go and look at the stories and the reports and look at the chemistry behind it. It works. So these are basic mechanisms that can be used. I just read that elderberry or sambucus is detrimental to avoiding coronavirus. I will have to find the source. Is detrimental to avoiding it. I don't know what. Are you saying that it makes it worse if you're doing sambucus? I don't know. Is that the way that sounds to you, Annie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not. I mean, I know it's immune boosting, and I've actually seen people that are promoting it as an immune source as well. Anything that you're doing to enhance your immune system, enhance vitamin C utilization, avoid, that's quarantining just says avoid Publix and avoid people that can spread it. I unfortunately, my mom, I was one of the kids that had perfect attendance when I was a kid. And my mom would send me to school for perfect attendance. And unless I got sick and was throwing up at school, I didn't come home. You can go back and look at my elementary report cards. I was a perfect attendance kid, and, I don't care if you're not feeling good, go to school, and then if you're too sick, they'll send you home. So unfortunately, so many people have both parents are working, and they don't have any option but to send their kids to school, and they're sitting there, whatever's going on with their kid. Hey, take a hanky with you. Cough into your elbow. That's one thing that bothers me. I mean, a lot of us know, let's fist bump, let's toe touch, let's give a thumbs up to people. Let's not touch each other. Touch is vital for people in reality to comfort levels. The whole emotional state with that. How many of you are feeling emotionally left out now that we can't touch anybody because of coronavirus? There's so much. I mean, people, they're just be smart. Think about it. What did Reams teach? This perfect equation plus what? Common sense. So if we know it's a virulent bug, common sense says either avoid it or do something that's preventing you from getting it. Hey, I'm going to smell like essential oils. I'm going to be, taking some colloidal silver. I'm taking some immune support. I'm actually eating real food now because I hope some people turn around and just start eating real food because of the fear of coronavirus, and they find out like, oh my God, eating real food is incredible. Why do I want to go back to that crap? It's amazing. So, did I leave out anything?
No. She replied and said, yeah, bad wording. Yes, makes it worse. Elderberry and Sambuca.
Okay. Yeah, I have not read that. If you guys have stuff like that, just send it to me, just that's, I don't know. So I got 29 people out there. Hi, 29, all of you out there. If I can get 29 thumbs up, I appreciate that. I think you guys take a second to go down and hit that thumbs up button. Those type of things definitely help. We get these statistics from YouTube every month of visual hours, how many people watch the show, how many thumbs up, how many of you make comments. They like you making comments. I don't care if you just say hi. I don't care if you turn around and ask things. The problem is some of you turn around and are making comments either after or during or after the show. And people, I am bad at going back and trying to answer comments. For me to find the time to go back and answer, all the questions and things like that. I try to reserve them during the show and ask you that if you're out there, ask your questions now. Do you know of a non-surgical way to get rid of a lipoma? I can tell you, it was interesting when I was learning and just edifying myself with more information on testing people from a standpoint of learning about organic acids and mold testing and environmental testing. And they had a really interesting case there of a whole family and the various degree of symptoms that the whole family was going through, from the children becoming not only irritable, but horrible behavior, and all of them having respiratory and things like that. But the weirdest was the dog. The dog that had mold exposure developed lipomas all over its body, started developing all these fatty tumors all over its body. So the question is not how do you non-surgically remove them? It's like, why are they forming? Why am I having a fatty acid distribution issue? So some people suggest doing healthy fats. I'm going to look at your chemistry. I have had people, because when you look at it from an RBTI perspective, a lipoma is a tissue of increased density. So anything that has increased density has more calcium in it. So it can be that you are depositing the wrong forms of calcium because they're not being utilized because of your pH and your efficiency. And your body says, hey, I'm not going to waste this calcium. So it's depositing it and it's accumulating in various spots. And that's the primary theory, is why we're getting blockages of our arteries and stuff like that for increased risk of heart attack and stroke and those things. So lipomas I have seen go away by changing the diet, improving efficiency, start getting on an RBTI diet and getting essential fats into these people, because they're fatty deposits, and then they just start dissolving and going away. Sometimes people have put castor oil packs over top of them, stimulate blood flow, lymphatic flow. Lymphatics, that's what the word I couldn't think of earlier when I was talking about the appendix and the immune activity. But castor oil packs, cold pressed castor oil on wool flannel, over the area with a heating pad. Stimulates blood flow, lymphatic flow, immune activity in that source. Helps with draining toxins out. Those type of things. And so there's a lot of different theories on that, but it's not, surgery is what most people do. Hey, let me do a little football shaped elliptical cut in the body, go undermine it, pop it out, stitch it shut, and that's it. It's a 5-minute surgical procedure. And but then you just start forming them in other places because you haven't dealt with the chemistry as to why they are forming. So I find that it's an imbalance in the chemistry and fatty acid metabolism. You're not breaking down fats. You're probably a slow oxidizer. You're probably craving salty foods. You're probably gaining weight in your hips versus your belly. You're probably more awake in the evening than you are during the morning time of day. You're probably a sugar crasher. There's relative patterns that I see with people who are, in that metabolic pattern. And so we try to support changing the metabolic pattern, which if you go to the work of Paul Eck and other people, it shows is directly mineral dependent, which I love Paul Eck's work and hair analysis. So 3%, there we go. Hydrogen peroxide. Yes, that's oxidation, people. People using, there's a whole book on there. There's a free PDF book on the 1 minute miracle cure for whatever. And it's using food grade, not the 3% peroxide, but food grade peroxide is like 30%. If you get that stuff on you, it'll oxidize. It'll turn your skin white and oxidize the skin. But when you do it, you're only doing drop doses. So you get food grade peroxide, and you start with 1 drop. Look up protocols. Peroxide is another thing that I have stayed away from because of the controversy that's out there. But peroxide, like MMS, I have MMS in the back. I have a hyperbaric chamber, though. Ha, ha, ha. Guess what I would be climbing into? You see, oxidation is a basic mechanism that kills microbes. So you could turn around and do MMS, or you could get food grade peroxide, find a program online where you start at 1 drop and you incrementally increase up to a maximum of up to like 15 drops. But don't quote me on that. Dr. Misak said to do 15 drops of peroxide. I am not saying that. You have to slowly introduce peroxides into the diet. But that's a basic mechanism for how to kill anything, microbes, anything. And if you start that type of stuff as a preventative and you start getting die-off reactions where you're feeling like you're getting the flu, you probably have mold or chronic infections or Epstein-Barr virus or mycoplasma or something that's already in you that you're not aware of. Because I was talking about bugs. They're not only the microbiome in your gut, people. They are all throughout your body. It's just your immune system keeps them under control. So what kind of colloidal silver can you take internally? Colloidal. A colloidal silver product is you can't visually see any silver. It's not colored. You don't see flecks of silver floating in it. You can put a laser beam through it and you'll see it deflect inside of there. But a colloidal product, that's why, I make it. I use that where we talked about thesilveredge.com. You buy a colloidal silver generator, people, you can make colloidal silver for the rest of your life. They're $265. You use pure 99.9% silver rods in distilled water and a process called electrolysis. It's on a timer. It circulates the water, makes a beautiful product. And I have had it take care of chronic sinus infections, tooth infections, abscesses. My favorite is I had a cat that got attacked by a hawk in our yard, and it had talon holes. It had a hole at not quite the size, it was bigger than a dime in its abdomen. And so I flushed that hole with 3% peroxide, oxidation, and then I packed it full of colloidal silver gel. It healed up perfectly. completely cured. So, so you could turn around with that, So how much colloidal silver should we take? I use a 10 part per million, and I take 2 to 4 ounces a day. And when I'm treating people, I usually give 3. I give an ounce 3 times a day, and you got to take a probiotic because it doesn't say you're a good bug, you're a bad. So I do morning, afternoon, evening, colloidal silver. Bedtime, I take the probiotic because that's when I'm giving people the probiotic. When people are sick, I'll make them herbs that have immune boosting and antimicrobial activity. So I might make an herbal that has echinacea, sambucus, astragalus, olive leaf extract, andrographis. What else would I put in there? Sometimes I'll put a little bit of like rhodiola or tulsi as a adaptogen to help with the stress on the body in these type of things. You could put a little bit of oregano in an herbal like that. Oregano is so strong, it's powerful. You could buy oil of oregano capsules, people, and take one of those twice a day. Powerfully antimicrobial. Powerfully antimicrobial. Essential oils. Sandalwood is a great essential oil. Rosemary essential oil. Holy basil essential oil. Oh my God, the list goes on. There are so many powerfully antimicrobial essential oils and herbs out there. So, but again, I usually take about 2 ounces of silver myself because I'm doing other stuff. What about the hydrogen peroxide in an infuser? I would not necessarily do that. I do use ozone, an air purifier that produces hydroxyls and ozone, small amounts. Hey, good morning, Prophet Bear. How do you get it? How do you get what? Food grade peroxide, health food stores. How do you get colloidal silver? We sell it. I get it from Daily Manufacturing. Theirs is a 20 part per million. And so I'll have people do maybe a tablespoon to an ounce, 2 tablespoons twice a day of Daily Manufacturing. It's $35 for a quart. I love you, Dr. Mesak. Thank you, T-Bird. Scroll back up, Doc. Thanks. What am I scrolling back up to see? What did I miss? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I see it. It says they'll turn you blue. That's what they'll tell you about colloidal silver. But I don't know. People, it's time to finish anyway. I hope that you just don't live in fear. I hope you find, you got to be proactive. Eat correctly. Learn the basics of your chemistry. Learn your patterns with your bricks and your pHs. Learn to eat based upon those patterns. Eat real food. Stay away from the sugar and the crap, because that stuff makes your chemistry move too fast and you can't extract the nutrients. Boost your immune system. If you're concerned, take some colloidal silver. Do some peroxide, these oxidizing therapies. Definitely get some vitamin C. If your pH is lower than 6.4 of your urine, onion soup or a buffered vitamin C that has those carbonates in there to push your pH up. You got to utilize that vitamin C. pH is huge, people. Get that pH between 6.4 to 6.6. Get it up. If it gets too high, don't get more vitamin C in you. Too much vitamin D will actually slow your chemistry down, but if you're below 6.4, take that vitamin D 5, 10,000, 15,000 units a day. That'll help slow it down to get that pH up, and as the pH goes up, lower the vitamin D intake. Watch your pH. Go by the numbers. It's so critical, to learn a practical application of what we're trying to tell you. So please, 31 people out there. I hope that I see at the end of this show that there is 31 thumbs up. If you guys like this information, it's not getting out there unless you are sharing it, which is another thing that Google tells us. How many of you share? We had 21 shares last month. So 21 shares out of about 8 shows, out of about 700 people that watched it. So please, if you think this is good information, share it. take the moment to do so. If you think it's good, at least give me a thumbs up. Otherwise, if there's some particular product highlight you guys want to see or something, let us know. But we'll be back. We're going to come back next week. Possibly we'll do something on Wednesday. Until then, just take care. I'm going to sign off and just say take care and God bless you all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you.